Yep, that's right. The mysterious plants are back, and I'm a dog, so I'm gonna run into the street and get hit. Aside from that, I think this is a pretty interesting week because the discounts have rose as well as the income. You can see the discounts here have risen up to this level, which is a high peak, which is similar to what happened last August when we got that peak after the larger peak. It just kind of consolidates. Now, these levels for the discounts and income are on the high side for what they usually are. So you know that the next thing that's going to happen is that they're going to come down a little bit. So definitely take advantage of this week to get as much income as you can, while also making sure that you buy as much stuff as you can that you want, because all of these discounts are not going to be sticking around forever. Then as far as the trending discount and income categories that were posted last week, we had the Bandito and the RC tank show up, as well as the arena workshop, and then the motorcycle businesses, as well as the motorcycle business sales. There were no new emerging trends, so all of the remaining discounts will still apply for next week. Then we have some new content. The Varus is part of the Cayo Perico update, and it's completely free, typically $192,000. Then the Casino Master Penthouse is 50% off, as well as the Arena Workshop. And then we have the Itali RSX, the R88, the DR1, the BR8, PR4, Ramp Buggy, Thruster, Alkanost, and then the RC Tank, and finally the RC Bandito. I think this is one of the most underrated vehicles because you can use that as a source of income every week, and it can take you off the radar immediately, and then if you need to get back at some people, you can blow them up. So this is very useful, and I would definitely recommend it. Then for the Twitch Prime discounts, we have the Sonar Station is still free, plus $200,000, as well as the Wagner and the Coil Rocket Voltic. Then the MC Clubhouses are 50% off. You can see that these ones are pretty cheap here, $200,000. I have mine in the city. It doesn't really matter where you get them because you're pretty much using them only to buy the MC businesses. The ones up here are a little bit cheaper here. You can see this one is only $100,000. This one over here is 105, and then this one's 112. And then once you get the clubhouse, you'll be able to go inside of it, and that is where you'll be able to buy all of the MC businesses. And these are all a great deal right now. I would definitely recommend getting the cocaine lockup at the Alamo C. You can see here I have 45 million in sales from this, and those can be used for passive income at the nightclub. This business is 487,000, and you can pretty much pay that off in one sale. Don't worry about getting a cheap one because you won't make as much money either. This is definitely the way to go. Then the Podium vehicle is the Tyrant. Now this is a nice looking vehicle, and it's $2.5 million usually, but it's actually terrible, and it's really big. So it's not the supercar that you really think that it is. So if you want it, now's the time because it's free. Then as far as the contact missions go, these things are 2 times the money, and you just go into the menu and the play job, Rockstar created, into the missions, and they'll all be right there. You can get pretty good amounts of money on this if you are a new player or you're an existing player that just wants to do something different. Same thing goes for the open wheel races. Just go into the start menu to play job, Rockstar created, then races, and then you're going to scroll until you get to open wheel races. These aren't going to be quite as consistent as the contact missions because you have to have a good amount of people in there, but if there are and you're fast, you can win up to 70,000 a race. Speaking of races, Construction Site 2 is where the RC Bandito race is. And then the Raton Canyon is the land race. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to this spot right there, and you're pretty much going to follow the GPS, but there are some very essential shortcuts. So start off with a rev drop, and the first shortcut is right there. Instead of taking that gravel road, you're going to get on the highway. And you just follow this corner and drop off of the highway right down into this area. Follow this straight road, and then once you get here, look for that cliffside, and that's kind of about where you want to try to drive to. After you get there, you shoot between that gap and the trees. Now this section gets a little unpredictable, but I had a pretty good bounce off of that rock, so that was able to get me through there pretty easily. This is basically just what you do is follow the GPS, and I sped up the video because of that. This is the Bati 801, which is always cheap, so if you're a new player, you don't need to wait for a discount for this one. And then another important thing to know is if you need to restart the race, you can hold the Y button and it will respawn you right by the start, as long as your bike isn't in the water or you die. Anyway, once you get down to this section of the road, you're going to cut up through here, over this hill, just look at your map, and you go straight for that yellow finish line, and that's all there is to it. Then the RC Bandito race is a little bit technical to make it through. You can miss the checkpoints by a pretty wide gap. So you can see here, I'm taking these big lines through the corners, and you can even take it a little bit more drastic than that, and it will still count the checkpoints. So that's one thing to consider. Be careful going over the elevation changes, and this scaffolding area is awful because it's uphill and very tight. So you'll just have to kind of play around with it for a little while. This one is a little bit tight to make it through. I finished with only about a second left. Once you get up to the top, you circle around the red structure here, and then you're going to go towards that main section of the building with the green. And once you drop down into here, you'll go kind of around this tight area and through the concrete kind of stuff over here. Yep, pretty tight. And then that I overshot a little bit, but it ended up working out pretty well. Up over the scaffolding and then off of the side of the building. That's going to sum it up for this week, and there's a lot of stuff to do, so make money and buy stuff and go around, you know, barking like a dog. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.